After April's 54% increase to the energy price cap, household bills increased by an average £693. But in October, it's due to get much, much worse. Martin Lewis explains the latest developments here.
The impact of the spike in gas prices is going to be absolutely devastating. The latest prediction for the price cap is it will go up 77% on the 1st of October, taking someone with typical usage from the current £1,971 a year, which was already up over 50%, to £3,500 a year. And then in January, it'll go up again. Now that £1,500 a year spike is simply unaffordable for millions of homes and is likely to put around 10 million people or more into fuel poverty. The impact of it is frankly catastrophic, and intervention is needed and needed now.
So the latest prediction is another 77% increase to the energy price cap, with bills going up to £3,500 per year. That's extraordinary. And despite what politicians might say, it's not inevitable. That's because it all comes as energy firms are making huge profits and paying them to shareholders instead of helping their customers. Centrica, which owns British Gas, announced a profit of nearly £1.4 billion in the first half of this year. That's 5 times the profits it made a year ago. 5 times. That windfall is, of course, not the result of Centrica doing any more work or producing more fuel. It's simply profiting from rising fuel prices. Centrica is, in short, profiting directly from the crippling increases in energy bills that are set to drive millions into poverty. It's money going straight out of your pocket and into the pockets of their shareholders. So what would Liz Truss, likely your next Prime Minister, do about these unearned windfalls? Well, this is what she said at the latest Tory leadership hustings in Leeds.
I don't believe in windfall taxes because they put off future investment. What we should be doing is encouraging Shell and other companies to invest in the United Kingdom, because we need to get our productivity up. We need capital investment. What I would do is create low tax investment zones, encouraging those companies to invest in our country. I think windfall taxes send the wrong message to the world. They don't send the message that Britain is open for business. And actually what we need to be doing now is using more of our North Sea reserves to help people with the cost of living. And that's what I would do alongside having a temporary moratorium on the green energy levy to really help people with their bills.
In keeping with Liz Truss's campaign, that answer was just completely economically illiterate. As I've already explained, the point of windfall profits is that they don't reward investment or productivity gains. They're instead the result of things entirely outside of a company's control. In this case, of course, a war in Ukraine and a pandemic. That means if you tax those profits, you don't damage investment, which even the boss of BP has admitted. The other part of that answer, which was even more worrying, was what Truss said about productivity. She wants to increase productivity by cutting taxes for fossil fuel producers. Now, ignoring climate change for one moment and how dangerous that is in that context, it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. If you want to increase productivity, you build up high-skilled, labor-intensive industries. You don't double down on resource extraction. We want to be more like Germany or Silicon Valley. We don't want to be Saudi Arabia. Of course, Truss's light-touch approach to profiteering is all the more offensive because of the situation ordinary Brits find themselves in. This report on consumer debt is from Sky. Consumer credit, which includes borrowing on credit cards, overdrafts, personal loans and car finance, was up by 6.5% on an annual basis in June. As part of this, the annual growth rate of credit card borrowing was 12.5%, the highest rate since the 12.6% increase in November 2005. Laura Suter, head of personal finance at AJ Bell, said the figures are, quote, just the tip of the iceberg. She said, quote, once the energy price cap shifts up again in October and we all use more energy in winter, these figures will keep climbing. What's more, while some people may still have savings to fall back on now, as they are exhausted, more people will have to turn to debt. So not only are salaries not keeping up with rising prices, but surprise, surprise, that means people are forced to make themselves even poorer by relying on expensive credit card debt. That's more money to bankers. It's more economic instability. I always find it quite worrying when people say, oh, this is the highest debt people have had since, and then insert a date just before the financial crisis. In that context, it was since 2005. It all comes before another huge hike in energy bills this winter. So it's no wonder even moderates like Martin Lewis are predicting civil unrest. I hope we get it. It could be the kind of civil unrest that saves us from a financial crisis down the line, because we cannot continue this way. You cannot continue in an environment where energy prices are going up 200, 300%, right, in total, because these are all additive, right? If it goes up by 66%, then 77%, I mean, these are increasing by a real large amount, and wages are not catching up remotely. And we've got the Labour Party saying, oh, that doesn't matter. We've got the Tories saying this is actively good. It can't go on like this. It can't go on like this. And now we have a next Prime Minister whose main policy is to cut tax on rich people.